All right, so that's what you're seeing on your screen there. This is the Doctor of Naturopathic Medicine admissions webinar for University of Western States. And again, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Georgia, and I am UWS's Associate Director of Admissions. So today's webinar, our goal is to get you in and out in about 30 minutes. We're going to go over lots of information in the following slides, but we always encourage anybody who's interested in learning more. If you have questions, reach out. We love to answer them for you. In fact, anybody who is joining us today will end up getting a call from our admission office, at the very least an email if you're one of our international folks, and we'll be following up with you just to make sure those questions are answered. But today we're going to spend about 30 minutes together. So with that said, we may have time for some question and answering at the end, but I did make sure to include a slide that I think will be very helpful for folks who have questions. Let's head and see our schedule. So here's the schedule for today's event. Like I mentioned, we're aiming to be about half an hour long, and we may have time for questions, but just in case we do not, feel free to use the question and answer that you should see at the bottom of your page. So if you are looking at the bottom of your Zoom screen, you should see the question and answer function. Something to keep in mind, if you don't mind, is to make sure that you include your name, just in case we're not able to get to to answer your question today. We want to make sure that we can follow up with you. So if we don't get it today, like I mentioned, we'll be calling folks tomorrow, or we'll send a copy of this out afterwards, or we'll follow up via email, but be sure and leave your question and we'll make sure it gets answered. So as you can see, we've got a lot planned for today. So a little bit about University of Western States. So UWS was founded as the second oldest chiropractic college in the world. That was in 1904. So it's been a little bit that we've been at the forefront of health and wellness in the Pacific Northwest. As I mentioned, we were founded in 1904, and then as we grew, we added other areas, including a naturopathic medicine program in 1923. I want to highlight that again because I think it is truly remarkable. We had a naturopathic medicine program in 1923. Now, we took it off the table here for a little bit, but our Doctor of Naturopathic Medicine is relaunching this year, and we are welcoming our very first class in October 2023, 100 years after the initial founding of our program. And we have got an exciting curriculum that we're going to get you, looking at, and we've got a partnership with the IFM that we're going to talk about. It has been a really busy past year preparing for this, but we are so excited to welcome people this fall. Now, UWS's NMD program has a strong focus on research-based naturopathic medicine. Functional medicine concepts are also woven throughout this naturopathic program, and what this does is it's going to prepare students to apply these concepts in their practice. So the degree to which these are covered and integrated into the program is what is going to differentiate us from maybe some of those other places that you're looking. We have done this through a really unique and special partnership with the Institute for Functional Medicine, as I was mentioning earlier, and students who graduate are going to be prepared to take the test for the IFM's practitioner certification after graduation. So really exciting partnership with them. Now, speaking of exciting, Dr. Marcia Prenguber is the Dean of the College of Naturopathic Medicine, and Dr. P has an extensive background in naturopathic medicine education, as well as in academic administration. So she has served on national naturopathic and integrative medicine organizations. You can see a few of them listed there, but I am also happy to say that she is going to join us here today. So Dr. P, whenever you're ready, take over and unmute yourself. I would love to hear from you, and I'll head to the next slide.
So just as an overview, thanks so much. I appreciate that lovely introduction. I'm sure many of you have a sense of what naturopathic medicine is, but it's a pretty broad definition. So we really, and I'll use the AANMC's explanation here. It is all about bringing what we know about nature and the wisdom of nature and aligning it with what we are learning from modern science. So it's an evidence-based program that we're using to instruct students who will become practitioners in the field of naturopathic medicine. We want to take that evidence and use it with the tools that we have, for example, with botanical medicine. What do we know about those strategies and that modality in general? But that goes across the board. Looking at diagnosis like anyone would diagnose, but with the additional tools that we use both through naturopathic medicine as well as functional medicine, and then approach working with the patient. We don't treat disease, we work with patients to improve their health. So, all right, next slide. Functional medicine gives us just a framework to look at that. The tools are the same, the modalities are the same, but it gives us a structure, really, to take all the information we gather from and about the patient and put it into an organized system to be able to help us diagnose and then treat. And the partnership with IFM will really help to do that, because all of the IFM material is integrated into our naturopathic curriculum. So you're all set. And once you graduate, you're able to sit for their exam and become a certified functional medicine practitioner, in addition to a licensable naturopathic doctor. Okay, thank you. Next slide. All right, so the program is a lot to talk about in a half an hour, so we'll just give a very brief overview. It's on campus. There may be some hybrid courses and later on some online courses as you're doing clinical rotations. But for the most part, it is largely on-campus program. Obviously, in addition to whatever on-campus academic work you do, all of the clinical components are in person, and they're either on campus or in community clinics. So, okay. The faculty. So we are an integrated program with the chiropractic program. So we have some very well-established and faculty with great expertise in a variety of basic science courses. In addition, we have people already built into the system in diet and nutrition. We'll be bringing people on, and we've hired some of them already in various other categories, such as botanical medicine, naturopathic medicine philosophy, my favorite course, exercise and sports science. We have some great experts already in the sports, help me remember the name of it, the exercise and sports.
The sport and performance psychology.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Right. And we have counseling programs. I'm hoping to dip into their faculty expertise and use that. And of course, we'll use chiropractic faculty for our physical medicine courses. So I'm so excited about the program, because we're drawing from a variety of places of people with true expertise in those areas. But just to look at the bottom half of that slide, really what we're trying to get all of our students to do is to use really sound critical thinking skills, medical reasoning. We can teach you all kinds of facts, and you have all kinds of information at your disposal, but you need to think through the process and determine what the best course of action is. We look at the relevant research, we refer and discuss with the people that have the expertise, but your medical reasoning and critical thinking are what's going to help the patient advance in their health. Okay. So it's about 300 credits. It might be 298, might be 301, but it's in the neighborhood of 300 credits. It's 14 quarters. We go year round. You get a 2-week break between each quarter, but you complete in 3.5 years rather than the more traditional 4 years. The quarters are 11 weeks long, so it's 10 weeks of instruction, a week of final exams. And there's a pretty significant time commitment on campus, as well as what you need to do off campus. So it's not something to take lightly, but something well worth your time and energy. All right, next slide. So this is just a draft. It's actually been revised slightly from here, mostly just moving courses around so that they make better sense of in terms of progression. But you can see There's an average of about 21, 22 credits per quarter. And we start with a lot of basic science in the beginning, but you do have a clinical skills lab, right? Starting with quarter one. And you start out with history and philosophy of naturopathic medicine, an important piece. And then there's a natural progression. You'll see function and dysfunction starts in quarter one and continues on through quarter six. And that's really about physiology and pathology blended together so that you can see what normal and abnormal looks like. The biomedical integration are case-based courses to match the function dysfunction, the cellular molecular architecture, the human morphology. All of those basic science courses are brought out in cases in the biomedical integration courses, quarters 1 through 3. So then if you jump to quarters 4, 5, 6, 7, you'll see more application of what you tend to think of when you think about becoming a doctor. How to do a physical exam that's thorough and accurate. How to assess someone's nutritional aspects as they're going through just normal daily life or through some kind of healthcare crisis. You learn how to read and order various diagnostic imaging, X-ray, CT, MRI. Let me see what else is in there. And then we get into systems courses such as nephrology and neurology, cardiovascular health, gastroenterology, endocrinology, and all that means, both more detail about how to assess it, what to do once you have diagnosed it, how do we approach it. It's not to say that we have lost the importance of all those specific modalities like nutrition or botanical medicine or homeopathy or physical medicine, but it's about what kinds of tools to look at when you're going through any one of those systems courses. We even have a class, and this is predominantly through the functional medicine, meal planning in health and illness. That's alluded to in a lot of other classes, but this really gets down to the nitty-gritty of it. You'll see there's a whole series of 4 botanical medicine courses, another series of 4 homeopathy courses. I think there are 3 manipulation courses and so forth and so on. You'll see how they all integrate together. Okay, next slide, I think is another same concept, but you'll notice in quarters 12, 13, 14, even 11, I guess, you're starting to do what we call primary clinical rotation, so that you are the primary clinician, obviously supervised by a licensed naturopathic physician, but you're the person who takes the case, who analyzes the case, who develops ideas for treatment, and then go over that information with the supervising clinician before you present it to the patient, and then you follow the patient as they come back each time. So, okay. Next slide. So we've had lots of questions about advanced standing, people who already have or are in the midst of obtaining another healthcare discipline license or certificate, such as acupuncture or chiropractic or pharmacist. So we look at those and we do an analysis of their what they've learned already or what they're scheduled to learn, and then make a determination about what it is that they still need to do in naturopathic medicine to get to be eligible to be licensed. Typically, it takes about 2 more years beyond, let's say, for a chiropractor. Once they've completed their 3.5-year course, they still have another 2 years to do in naturopathic medicine. It is there are lots of basic sciences that apply and transfer easily, but there are lots of courses that they don't really have the background in the training that they're in. And I've seen many medical doctors go through, but they still have to do all of the systems courses, not because they don't know how the cardiovascular system works, but because they don't know how we assess it to treat and develop a treatment plan. And so that's why there's some redundancy, but it's the primary focus is on treatment, assessment and treatment. Let's see if I'm looking. Yes, so we don't have full-time advanced standing yet because we're starting with just 1 quarter. But as we move on and add a year each time, we will develop an opportunity for full-time attendance or enrollment for those with advanced standing. All right. I think this goes back to you. Is that right?
I would be happy to take over, Dr. Prenguber. Thank you so much for joining us. Your insight is really just so valuable to us. I'd be happy to take over talking about our wonderful anatomical science building. So this is one of, I think, the coolest parts of UWS. I've gotten to do a little tour of it, and boy, it is impressive. Our anatomical science building is located just 10 minutes from our main campus, and it is the location of our cadaver labs. So students do rotate in a round robin style between stations, and your goal there is to get hands-on experience. So you can see the televisions that are on the wall. This allows for the integration of technology into the lab. So you are getting insight like you may have never gotten insight before. Students will have a really easy time following instructors with our prosected cadavers. And we also on campus have a few syndavers. If you've never seen the synthetic version, they are lifelike in many ways. All right, so just a little map here of the drive between the two buildings. Now, if you need some recommendations of food cart pods to stop between these two spots, I've got them for you. So you just let me know. This is really a neat location. You see there's a great Goodwill on the way as well. But if you like the food scene in Portland, if you like to really be in the city and feel like you're, you know, right in the heart of it, this is a really great drive and a really short one between the two locations. So as we were mentioning before, students who graduate from UWS's NMD program are qualified to sit for the IFM's Functional Medicine Practitioner Certification Test. So they still need to complete the case study that's required for the certification. There's, some formal stuff you'll definitely need to do, but the NMD course covers all 7 courses. I think there's 6 units and then one final overarching course that you need to take. We'll cover all of those in the curriculums. So you can find more details about this on the IFM site if you want to see the certification directly. Definitely worth checking out. There's quite a few benefits. One of them includes increased visibility. They have this incredible search function that's on their website for Find a Practitioner. It gets over 1 million hits a year. So your name could be listed on that search. All right, so we want to review a few of these prerequisite requirements. This is a very important page. So we prefer a bachelor's degree with a 3.0 or higher, or maybe you have 90 semester or 135 quarter credits with a 3.0 or higher. Fantastic. These courses do need to reflect 3 years of college coursework, and students who enter without a bachelor's degree, if you desire, if you complete the coursework, you can be awarded a BS in human biology at the conclusion of the 5th quarter, I believe start of the 6th quarter, and that way you can get that bachelor's degree and the NMD. You'll need 24 semesters or 36 quarter credits in the life and physical sciences. And just a note at the bottom there, you'll see biology and chemistry courses. We need those taken within the last 7 years. Very important there. Some of those prerequisite coursework you can see in purple there. Biology, we're going to need 2 semesters at 3 quarters of science major courses. We do need a lab course in there. Chemistry is another one where 2 semesters are needed, and 1 lab course as well. And then psychology and physics round out those prerequisites. If it's ever helpful to see these in a static place online, we've got it online on our apply page. If you head to uws.edu, go to the top, you'll see that there's a little button that says apply. Head there and you can see these anytime that's helpful, or, and you'll hear it a million times, reach out to us. Our admissions office is truly happy to help. All right, a little continuation. So we want to be a little bit more specific about some of these courses that we've seen that maybe weren't titled biology, maybe were not titled exactly chemistry or exactly psychology, but would still qualify. So take a quick look there, if you would, at the screen to see some of those. They might be familiar and in your background. If so, fantastic. All right, so let's say those are not in your background. No problem. Okay, for students in need of additional prerequisite courses, we do have a few suggestions. So you may have a community college that you really like. That's fantastic. I love a community college. Maybe you've got an institution near you that works really well for you. That's wonderful. But maybe you're a little further away and you'd like to see somewhere that is online. Check out the screen for a few recommendations. Portage Learning and Geneva College, incredibly popular. These other ones also very popular, but I just want to highlight that one there. They have some on-demand, start anytime, work at your own pace courses that often are just what students need and fit really nicely into the timing that might be happening for your application. So we invite students to learn in several ways. So you are assigned weekly readings and lectures, as well as a weekly discussion forum. UWS has an online library that is just unreal. We have access to amazing journals. I love our physical library as well. I'm sure you'd see that place and find your favorite little nook. They've got some fantastic chairs in there. But learning will be assessed through things like papers, things like projects, exams. You can see on here that there are weekly discussions as well. Very important that we want you to be chatting with each other. And then, as Dr. P mentioned earlier, in the 11th week, students are completing a final exam. So 10 weeks of instructions, 11 weeks, or the 11th week is a final examination, and then 2 weeks of break in between each of the terms. So we get a lot of questions about this program. They are all fantastic, but I want to run you through a few of the most commonly asked ones. So you may have these yourself, or might have been one you haven't thought of yet. So we want to run through them real quick. So can I apply before completing those prerequisites? Yes, you can. We do have conditional acceptances that are available depending on what your prerequisite situation looks like. And if you like, those applications come in the year before that term starts. So that's when they open as a whole year beforehand. We have people applying all the way up to July 15th, which we'll talk about a little bit later as our deadline for this year. And then those prerequisites are actually due 6 weeks prior to the start of the term. So for this fall, that's going to be late August. So my science courses are more than 7 years old. Can I still apply? Yes, but you may need to update a few of those courses, perhaps all of the courses that are older than 7 years. Feel free to talk to us about any extenuating circumstances. Maybe you use some of this knowledge in your job daily, or it's really pertinent to something that you're doing now. That's wonderful. Let us know. But if they're older than 7 years, do be prepared that you may need to retake some courses. As we discussed earlier, I'm a practicing chiropractor. Will I have advanced standing? You sure will. Approximately 2 years out of the 3.5. Do current DC students at UWS, maybe that's you, have advanced standing? Again, we sure do. And then I'd like to transfer in. What does that process look like? It'll be a case-by-case basis. We want to be in touch with you and look at your individual situation. We'll assess the courses that you've taken so far. Really important that we have those supported with a syllabus or two, or all of them for any courses you're transferring in. And that way we can really accurately assess what it looks like to transfer in those credits. All right, a few more. So are we accredited by the Council on Naturopathic Medicine Education? Perhaps you've heard of these. There are steps in getting all of that resolved and set up, and we are doing those steps. So you can see here listed out that step 1 is eligibility status that has already been achieved. Way to go, us. But as you can see, step 2 requires at least one group of students to have completed 1 year of the program before we can submit the application for candidacy status. We are well on our way. So the long and short is that we are taking every step we can and doing the very best we can to be aligned with their expectations. And so far, it has been going fantastically. Step 1 has been completed. Can I take classes from home? Is it necessary for me to move to Portland? It sure is necessary for you to move to Portland. This degree is primarily in person. We are preparing you for a profession that is primarily in person. This program requires you to be on campus for lectures, labs, clinical rotations. We're looking at really 35 to 40 hours a week that you could expect to be on campus. That might include some Saturdays. It likely will as you get into those rotations. Could you work full-time, part-time while in this program? It might be possible, but again, classes are offered Monday through Friday, generally in the operating hours, business hours, 9 to 5, and then clinical rotations may include Saturdays. So this will be your primary objective during this time. This is really what will need your primary focus. All right, let's talk about financial aid. So, you may be familiar with the steps for financial aid. You might have applied for it before, but you're going to want to complete the FAFSA, FASSA, the federal or free application for federal student aid, and that will be for the 23-24 school year. You can see over here that this is our special code that you'll want to use. As a heads up, if you're thinking about applying and you want to see what this financial aid looks like, I suggest you go ahead and hop on applying as soon as you are able to, because after an acceptance to the program, we typically, in the month after acceptance, get someone a financial aid package. It's not available beforehand because they need an acceptance to match the package too. So if that is something that is important to you, if that's a big factor for you, totally understandable. It might be really, really beneficial for us to learn about each other early, get that application in so that you have more time to consider what those options look like for you. And let's talk return on investment. So, for most NDs, their practice is occurring in a private clinic rather than a public hospital or an emergency room. This helps contribute to a quality of life that is excellent for practitioners. So, they report that they have high career satisfactions for career satisfaction for some NDs. They actually might include or choose to open their own practice or be a major part of somebody else's practice. This would mean that they're setting their own hours, they're choosing their own location, and they're choosing where they focus their time and energy. So we help you lay the groundwork for possible future employment through those clinical rotations. We want you to know what it really feels like to be doing this job. But there are also multiple business classes that are built into the curriculum for the ND program. So once you're graduated, you will, like I mentioned, be listed on the IFM's practitioner search engine. Gets over 1 million hits a year, but we are going to prepare you to hit the ground running and be a success. So are you ready to apply? Because if you are, again, we would love for you to schedule an advising appointment. That's really step one. Step two is going to be to complete an online application before the priority deadline, if possible. That has already passed for this year, but we still have the final deadline. You'll see in there that there are 2 entrance essays that we also want you to complete. And then if you're missing any prerequisites, we would love for you to submit a timeline for when those are completed to make sure that it matches with what is feasible for this fall. Perhaps you're a better fit for next fall or a fall beyond that. Now, important here, we also require official transcripts from each and every institution attended. So that I just want to repeat that each and every institution attended. So if you attended somewhere for just a handful of credits, maybe it was that wonderful community college that's near you, we do need to get that transcript. This is a Department of Education rule and requirement. So please help us out. A lot of them have really easy ways to order them online. If you need any help finding where to do that, you let us know. We will be happy to help. And then admitted students or students who submit everything will then pass along to the personal interview that will likely be with Dr. P or another NMD faculty member. And then admitted students are able to confirm their spot in the class with a tuition deposit. That tuition deposit is also applied to your first term's tuition balance. So you'll see that come back again. All right, so let's talk about what some next steps look like. We're wrapping up here today, so I want to make sure that we tell you what the best way to get in touch with us next is. So email, connect with an admissions team member, call us. We're happy to help whatever's best for you. But you can do that either by emailing admissions@uws.edu. This is our catch-all email address. If you only had one email address for your application, this is the one I would want. So this is where you can send documents. This is where recommenders could send documents if they wanted to. This is where, if you have a transcript that you're ordering, this is where you'll want to get it sent to. That is a catch-all email address. And the number for our front desk is also right next to that, 800-641-5641. We are still taking applications for fall 2023. That deadline is July 15th. And then prerequisites, like we mentioned, due 6 weeks in advance of the start of the term. So this year that is August 25th. All right, maybe you want to visit campus. I suggest you visit campus. In fact, if you're in the Portland area, we'd love for you to stop by, or if you're making a special trip, that's even better. But we do campus tours Monday through Friday, 12:40 p.m. We ask that you register 2 weeks in advance. If you need something at the last minute, we may be able to accommodate you. Feel free to be in contact with our office. But if you'd like, go ahead and scan that QR code that's on your screen. That will then take you to our visit website. So maybe you've got it planned for later in the summer. No problem. You could set it up right now if you wanted. All right, our final slide. And I will say we're sliding in home right at 30 minutes. So we did get some of those questions out of the way. I don't think I see any of them that are pending in the Q&A, but we have an FAQ page that is online that includes some of the same things that we talked about today, or you have an assigned contact in the admission office already who would be happy to help you out. And then if you are ready, if you're feeling like you are excited to take the next steps, we're excited for you. We want to chat with you. Apply today. We can be of help. We've still got time. We'll be giving folks a call tomorrow as well. But if we don't catch you, go ahead and circle back around to us because we sure would love to have a chat. But that is where we are going to end today. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. Thank you again for your time today. We really appreciated seeing everybody. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. We'll be in contact here shortly with you. But if anything arises that we can be of help with, we sure would be glad to. All right. Have a fantastic rest of your day. And thanks for attending our webinar. Bye.